Okay, let's start by saying this is important. And this being an 8-week class, we're going to be stuffing things in it that might make you seem a little panicked. Therefore, rather than include where you get Python from in the very first week of class, which might be just a little bit overwhelming, I've decided to send it out early in hopes and prayers that you folks pay attention and you download Python and have it up and running, and at least in a testing environment, so that we can hit the floor running. These are the things that you need to learn when you're learning a new programming language. You need to learn, these are just the 7 basic things you'll learn in learning any programming language. This is all any programming language does. It reads from files, it writes to files, it does straight line programming, it does repetition, looping if you prefer, decision making, modularization and functions, and X control. I don't know that we're going to do X control. We might do X control, but I don't know that we're going to do X control. So those are the things that you need to learn from a language. To learn those things from a language, you need a tool to do it with. And in our particular case, we're going to use the tool Python. Python is a programming language that is really quite easy to learn, straightforward. It's not complicated. It's something that I like to tell students, if you think you can do it, you probably can do it in Python. You just have to do some research. So where do you get Python from? Well, in this particular case, you go out to python.org, which is right here, and you download it. You go here to downloads, and you download the particular version for your machine. This gives you a full list of downloads, but it gives you Windows, Macs, other platforms. This is 3.10.4. Most of my work's going to be done in 3.7 because I just haven't updated in a while. I might update over the summer here, but you never can tell. It doesn't matter. It's backward compatible, and it seems to work just fine until I run into a wall. I'll probably keep things in a static form. This download should give you all the things that you need to make Python work. You just click on it, and bingo, bango, and beads, it downloads it, and then you run the exec. Now, that's how you get Python. That's all there is to it. Once you get Python and you've downloaded it, as you see, it's gone out to my downloads folder. There it is, Python exec, Enon XR exec, and other things that are out there. You run it. I12. To test Python, you open a Python shell. Now, how do you get a Python shell? First thing you do is you go and you get a command prompt. There are a couple of different ways to get the command prompt. I don't know how your machine is set up, so I'm not going to sit there and tell you this is how you get a command prompt, because I always run into the one student who says, oh no, that didn't work. And then I end up sitting there trying to research something only to find out that they've got an old operating system or something like that, and it's not going to work anyway, and I'm going to have to figure a new way out, and it becomes my onus. You're programming students now. You should be able to pull up a command prompt. There. Then you type in that command prompt py. Once you type in py in the command prompt, this brings you into the Python shell. You will notice that the command prompt has one greater than sign. The Python shell has 3 greater than signs. And then you can just test the Python shell by writing in there A4 + 4. And it feeds it right back. The Python shell is an immediate feedback operation. We'll go more into that as we move along. I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to go to slide 13. Now we're going to talk about setting up a work area. This is why you set up a work area. You set up a work area because it's more efficient for testing. It will become a toolbox from which you will learn to use your code that you have written so that you're not constantly reinventing the wheel. I know a lot of programmers who reinvent the wheel and reinvent the wheel and reinvent the wheel. I'm not like that. It doesn't seem to be me to be productive. It doesn't seem to work real well. Sometimes it causes me confusion and frustration when I know something should work. If I invent something that works and I want to keep it hanging around, I stick it in a toolbox somewhere, and I might even forget what I wrote, but I know it works. So we'll learn that talent too. It helps you keep things organized. Oh my God. If you were like me, you start programming in Python, you'll have Python programs all over the place, and then you'll forget what you called it, and 6 months later you'll go looking for it, and you won't know where it is, and it gets uglier and uglier and uglier. It gives us a place where we can develop our ideas. That's different from decoding. Ideas are things that say, gee, I wonder if this will work, and you try to code it and see if you can get it to work. That's an idea. That's different from a place to develop coding. Coding is something that you put together to run a specific project. Ideas, though, are a little bit different. And it's just the way we do things. I mean, that's basically what it boils down to. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to your desktop, and I've got lots of folders on my desktop. So I'm going to just right click on my desktop, and I've got one already created, testing folder for Python Summer 22, and I'll open it, and it's got a rebuild in it. It's got some stuff in it, but I'm not too worried about it. I created the folder, so I'm going to put in there a new folder called Devil. Python Summer 2022. And then I might take that Devil Python, and in a Windows environment, I might pin it to my taskbar. I might not pin it to my taskbar. I might put it in my start menu. Let's put it there. If I put it in my start menu, when I fire it up, it should be there. Devil Python right there. There it is. I can go right to it, and I don't have to look for it. So that gives me a place to work. Then I'm going to open. Once I've developed that file, I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to, what do I got here first? Oh, yes, I'm going to open a test file. I'm just going to open a new file, and I'm going to call it a text document, and I'm going to call it test.py. I'm going to erase the txt and hit enter. Now, you should get an error like this. Are you sure you want to change it? Yes, you want to change it. If you don't get an error like that, and you do something like this, text document, and you just open it, then, and you want to save it again, then you have to make sure you save it correctly, or you will get multiple errors when you go to use it. To start with, let's save it as test2. Right here, you want to change this from .txt to all documents. We'll call it test2. There it is. Now, a common error that students make is they will open up a new document and they will save it as test3.py, and they won't take off the txt. They'll just keep a .txt. That keeps it as a text file. As you can see, it is still a text file. If the icon doesn't change, it's no good. Let me see if I can enlarge that icon a little bit. Let's take a full screen snip. And we'll go out here and we'll just grab this. We'll grab that. And we'll make it a little larger. Try to. There, as you can see, this is still a text document. This is a test PY. This is Python file. When you go to type of document, if it says text, then you can't work with it in Python. All right. That's slide 14, I think. Let's go to slide 15. Now, when you go to open a Python document, you should be able to right-click on it, and it should drop down with an Enter with Idle box. This is your Enter with Idle box. Let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger. And I don't know that I can. Full snip. Now it disappears. The icon, the drop-down box disappears. But anyway, when you right-click on it, you should be able to enter with idle. And when you enter it, you are now in a Python document. This shows you how to do it. I think we can make, no, we can't make that any larger. That's not going to get any bigger. I don't have a solution for everything, but that's where you get Python from. Now, this obviously your Python idle IDE looks like this. An idle IDE is a Python integrated development environment that Python downloads with its system. That's what we're going to use in this class because it's quick and it's easy and it's down and it's dirty. There's nothing real fancy with it. It's not like other IDEs. Other IDEs carry a whole lot more overhead. We'll do most of our overhead through imports and PyPy installs and pip installs, things like that. We're not gonna worry about anything fancy right now. There are other products out there, PyCharm, Anaconda, Spider, stuff like that work very, very nicely and work very, very well. And if I had an 18-week class, I might try or 16-week class, I might introduce those, but I'm not going to for this class. This is an 8-week class and we need to get banging. Once you've done this, just sit there and try and do this. Print in it, print hello world. File, and then I'd put an input after it. I'll explain an input later, but what this input will do is just stop the screen so that you can see that it worked. Save it, get out, and then just run it. Voila, that works. So you now know that you've got Python installed and you've got your Python shell installed, so we're ready to start working. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to bang on me right away, and we'll go from there. Thank you for your time.